Do you need brains in your head to listen to jazz?
It takes an intelligent ear to listen to jazz.
That's Art Blakey. He seems to think so. Learn more in my conversation with this legend.
102 at WUSS. Good afternoon, it's Kingsley Smith. We have a very special guest in our studio this afternoon, a legend, and his name is Mr. Art Blakey. And Art, we'd like to welcome you to WUSS and welcome you to Atlantic City.
Well, thank you very much. It's nice being here. I live here now.
You do?
Yeah.
That's good. Where do you live?
Northfield.
Northfield?
Yeah.
How do you like Northfield?
I like it.
Have you been living down here for a while?
Oh, about a year.
I assume you've done a lot of concerts and shows in this area over the years. How do you like playing the area generally?
Oh, last time we were here was in the Gardens, I think. I think you have a place down there called the Gardens. I think it was a long time ago. It's 1965. The time when Freddie Hubbard and the guys were in the band. Since then, we haven't been coming here. We've been out of the country. Now that they say the jazz is back, I don't think it has gone anywhere, but they say it's back. And we're here. We're glad to be here. And we're glad to be back home. So we don't have to stay in Europe or Japan or South America.
Art is playing at the New Colony Resort. When are you going to be there?
We open tonight. We'll be there for 3 days. Be there for the weekend. It'll be very nice. I hope the people will come out. This group is coming from all over the world. Our trumpeters from the Soviet Union. Oh, we just have a good mixture of great musicians.
Is the name of the band still Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers?
Oh, of course. The Jazz Messengers are the oldest jazz group in America today. It's 28 years old. After the defunct Modern Jazz Quartet, we're the oldest.
How long has the group been together?
28 years.
That's a long time. That's
Well,
older than me.
Yeah, that's right. Long time. I've been playing 41 years. You see, we've been turning out musicians. All the musicians come through us every month. You just finished playing Lonnie Liston Smith, right? He's Jazz Messenger. Most all the young guys you hear out there, they come through the Messengers. This is it's really an institution. All of them, Horace Silver, Freddie Hubbard, name it, Wayne Shorter, name them all. They all came through.
As far as the title of the music category that we're describing, do you go along with the term jazz?
Oh, jazz is one thing, and you just can't mix water and oil. Jazz is considered acoustic music. It's the classical music of America. It's only America's art form. It's acoustical. Of course, after all, electronics are here to stay, and musicians utilize them very good, but there is a difference. The electronic takes away the human element. If you pull the plug, you're in trouble.
In terms of the change which has gone through jazz, do you agree with the direction that it's going to now? I think you probably just answered that.
Yeah, well, the direction it is going, music will always move because it can't become stagnant. Because if it becomes stagnant, it's like a river. It'll kill us all. It has to keep moving. Music will always flow.
We're talking to Art Blakey on WUSS. I'm Kingsley Smith. Good afternoon. In Newsweek magazine a couple of weeks ago, they did a title cover story on the rebirth of jazz. Jazz is coming back. They mentioned Herbie Hancock getting together with some of the players that he played with. Do you think there really is a resurgence?
It isn't a resurgence of jazz as pop. As I said, this is only an art form that America has to offer to the world. It's more popular. It's that people know more about it in other countries than America. America's the last country to know about anything because we're too fat. We have too much of everything. You understand? And we do not listen. And we're very parochial minded here. Other countries, we have a different mentality about it. Even the Russians, 15 years ago, they weren't allowed to listen to it. They were sent to Siberia. Yet we have one of the finest jazz trumpeters coming out of the Soviet Union, coming from Moscow. So you see what's happening. They didn't copy anything else but the classical music. And his idol was Clifford Brown. You understand? And these things that we don't know anything about, and especially the blacks, they don't know anything about jazz. And it's their own music. And this is where it all comes from, the same thing. It all comes from the blues, from the sanctified church, from Negro spirituals on down. But yet, they deny it. They don't know it.
Why do you think it is that most blacks don't know about jazz?
Because the people let themselves be programmed because they don't want to think. It used to be when I was a little boy, they wake up and say, it's going to rain today. How do you know it's going to rain? Because the radio said so. They never thought about looking out and checking it for themselves,
Do you blame some of the lack of popularity of jazz on the media?
Of course, you can program people in it. You can play it. When Frank Sinatra went out years ago and the radio station went out and they had one record of Frank Sinatra, they brought him back. 15 years ago, they played him for 72 hours and they brought him back. He was bigger than life. Then he was big as a movie actor. Now he came back as a singer. All they have to do, because this is the way it is, and this is the way they think that they wanted to make their money, you know what I mean? And it takes an intelligent ear to listen to jazz, you know. Any other music, well, it's good. It's good music. It's our music. It comes from us, but, you know, it doesn't take too much. You know, all you have to do is pat your feet and get up there and start dancing. You know, you don't take too much mentality for that, and it's popular all over the world, too.
Art Blakey, the leader of Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers on WUSS. Art, for the benefit of our audience who may not know, what instrument do you play?
I'm a percussionist. I'm a drummer. I started out as a pianist. One day Earl Garner walked in, and that ended my piano career, so I started playing drums ever since.
There's a new album out. I don't know if you've heard it, Dizzy Gillespie. Have you heard his new album?
No, I don't think I have.
I have got to play for you this album, and I want your honest comments on it, because you had mentioned that your definition of jazz was something basically acoustic, and Dizzy has gone into a whole electronic thing.
I've heard him. I've heard him on tour with the guitar, but he isn't strictly, that's not what I mean electronic. What Dizzy's doing with the electric guitar, with the electric bass. He has a quartet. That isn't what I mean. I'm talking about going strictly electronic, with your trumpets electrified, with your drums electrified, with your piano and your synthesizer and all this stuff. This is electronics.
Eddie Harris.
Yes.
If we have to mention the name.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking. But Dizzy, and anything Dizzy does, I think he has proven himself a genius. He can try anything.
We're going to play a cut from Art's new album after a few messages. Art's album is called Gypsy Folk Tales. It's a brand new album for Dizzy Gillespie, an exclusive in South Jersey on WUSS, featuring Diz on trumpet, and he does a little bit of flugelhorn work, I think, in other cuts on the album. It's composed and arranged by Lalo Schifrin. The tune is called The Last Stroke of Midnight. And preceding Dizzy Gillespie, the latest album by Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, Gypsy Folk Tales, featuring Art on drums, and the song was Malibu. Art, what was your reaction to the Dizzy Gillespie cut that we played?
I like it very much. Dizzy can try anything, but I prefer not to change horses in midstream, you know, because there's room for everything. It's room for everybody. But somebody got to hold down the fort here.
50 years from now, what's the sound of jazz going to be?
Who knows? I know it's going to be much better. But I'm afraid if we have an energy problem, we won't have electronics. Maybe we'll have to get power from another source, you know. It'll still be a world, and they'll still be playing jazz and having a good time.
Thanks once again,
Thank
Art.
you.
Art Blakey, for coming over to WUSS. I have one more question
Yes.
I want to ask you. Is there such a person as Art Blakely? Is that somebody else, or is that people confusing the
That's
name?
people confusing the name. You say Art Blakey, they're going to say Blake Lee, you know, and all that. You know, but it takes them a little time, I guess, to get it together. Blakey is much easier to say than Blake Lee.
Yeah, it is.
But they will say Blake Lee. I say, my name is Art Blakey. They say, oh, okay, Art Blakely. So,
I've been wondering about that for a couple of years.
Oh, yeah.
Art, thanks again for coming over.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And again, we'd like to remind our audience that Art and the Jazz Messengers are appearing in Atlantic City this weekend at the Colony Resort Motel tonight, Thursday, and Saturday. Looking at the clock, I see we've got to get into some news. This is WUSS Atlantic City.
This is NBN News. I'm Bill Daughtry in New York. The Full Employment Council has designated September 4th through 10th as Full Employment Week.